I'd like to call to order the Library Building Committee. It's Thursday, February 13th, 2025, and it's 2:01. This is a hybrid meeting, which means it's a Zoom meeting and an in-person meeting. We're presently at 1111 Somerset Avenue, Dayton, Mass. 02715. Listing of matters are those reasonably anticipated by the chair, which may be discussed at the meeting. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by law. I'll call for roll call of the members, starting with Jonathan.
Jonathan Gale, ADA Coordinator.
Pat Gales, Historical Commission.
Mark Proctor, Library Director.
Ken Pacheco. And Mark. All present.
And I'll call for a roll call for the trustees of the library.
Ann Meissen, trustee.
Rita Araujo, trustee.
And Kevin, no, who was it that came in? I'm just drawing the plan. The Granite City Partnership.
Yeah, you're right now. Yes.
I was going to say we're going to be late, but they're right on time.
So you guys are all set. You opened up your meeting. Could we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I saw Jim. Is Jim coming? Do you know? So we're going to need Jim for the update on the building infrastructure, but why don't we go right to the budget then?
Sure. I have the numbers as of.
Thank you for being here, Joe. And I didn't get your name.
Hi, I'm Shayna.
Shayna?
Callahan is with Granite City Partners as well.
Shayna Callahan.
Good to see you both. Okay, so as far as the budget goes, the special article, we have $280,584.47 left, which is, I decided to break it down this way. What that means is there is 69.45% of that special article remaining. So there's a good chunk there which we'll spend down. Have not touched the CPC funds. That's still 323,000. We still the HVAC grant, 200,000. We still have the 88 remaining, almost 11,000 that. And I know, Jonathan, we spoke a little bit about that, spending that down. We'll follow up and we'll get on that. I also have, there's also $69,934.21 in the gift fund. I do want to note that 20,000 of that is earmarked by the Friends to go for the technology, which we're going to talk about the next Friends. It's on the agenda for next Friends meeting. So although it's 69,000, it's really 49,000 because 20,000 is basically earmarked. And I also have $28,390 in Meg Lake funds, all for a grand total, basically bringing us to $98,324.55 discretionary funds, or 78,000 with the earmarks of discretionary funds on top of the special article, on top of the CPC funds, on top of the $200,000 grant. So I think we're in very good shape financially.
Good. Anybody have any questions about the budget? For Mark? No? We'll go back to the building infrastructure now that Jim is here with us.
Hello, everyone. I'm not sure who has had a chance to go by, but we've made tremendous progress since our last meeting. It's really coming together. The colors that we chose as a group look phenomenal, in my opinion. It brightens it up, gives it a renewed, have you seen it?
No.
No, it looks great. The highway guys, I can't thank enough for their efforts. They had a window of opportunity to help us, and they made the most of the time that they've spent there. I believe, according to Joe, there's still someone there today, which is good. That means we continue to make progress. The plumber started there today. He's not going to be able to spend every day there, but he does plan to stay there now from start to finish. It just might be on an intermittent level. The only concern I have right now is electrical. The BP students were re-engaged. They recommitted. They showed up for a day or two, did a little bit of work, and then I haven't seen them for a week. But my last dialogue with them was that they still plan to make good on their promises. I would like to give an update at the next meeting. And then if there hasn't been much progress, then I'm going to make a suggestion that we have alternative means. Otherwise, we won't make our deadline, and that's just not possible. We need to make our deadline.
And of course, next week they're on vacation, so they're not even in
Right.
school.
Right.
Right. The other
Does-
problem,
Does their switch, like they do their shop class and then they do their academics, does that affect their work or are they sending two different groups of
they're
students?
supposed to send two different groups.
But they're
Right.
not coming.
No.
Did they give a reason why they're not coming, or their supervisor?
I didn't. It's a new instructor. They've gone through 3 instructors since they've been helping us for the past 12 months, so I'm not sure if that's the issue. But I try not to pry too much. I mean, we're grateful that they're helping us. It's not coming at no cost to us, but sooner or later we'll have to make a decision to make a change. The problem is our town electrician has decided to retire. So he's going to take a road trip for 3 months in June. So as Joe will allude to shortly with the HVAC project, he's committed to making sure that we have everything we need for this, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to help out with the remainder of the project because he'll be on hiatus June, July, and August. So we may have to come up with another way to get the electrical done.
What needs to be done now with the electrical specifically?
Every circuit needs to be gone through and checked make sure the wiring is code compliant and the outlets operational, and install the outlets in the desired locations as the director has shown. And then lastly, it's all the data infrastructure that needs to be put on. Nothing has been done with data infrastructure yet. So on a scale from 0% to 100%, we're probably 20% done. We still have 80% left.
Anybody have any questions for Jim?
That 80% of the electrical?
That's not counting anything HVAC that's going to be electrical, right?
No, HVAC is separate. This is just the building infrastructure, lighting circuits, electrical circuits, equipment circuits, things of that nature.
Do we need to put potentially, considering what you just said about BP and the town electrician retiring, do we need to potentially lump that together and put it out for bid or anything like that?
Well, I should have probably clarified, I'm sorry. The retirement by the electrician isn't that he's leaving Dayton. He's retiring from his daily routine, his electrical business. He wants to remain on as the town electrician. The problem is, in doing that, he's taking 3 months off to travel the country. Good for him. So there'll be a little gap on our side. Now, is that question warrant us having a backup electrician? That's very possible. That's a discussion that I'll have with the town administrator.
Well, I would assume there is going to be a backup electrician for the town, right? If he's going to be gone for 3 months, town doesn't stop. Right. Because he's gone for 3 months.
No,
So
exactly.
There should be a backup.
Exactly, I agree.
So
Yeah,
whether or not he's on vacation shouldn't impact the project, I would think.
right.
Does he have the ability, though, assuming that BP goes south? Does he have the time bandwidth to pick up what BP should be doing before he
No,
goes on hiatus?
no, he doesn't. He only has committed to giving us the electrical infrastructure needed for the HVAC equipment.
So I guess the question I'm wondering then is there a preliminary thought as to who you would want to bring in or how we would do it for BP override?
That's going to be up to the town administrator, but based on the fact that we have, could have a potential gap in services to the town-wide for 3 months, and the fact that we potentially have a problem meeting our deadline in the absence of a backup, then I would say that the town administrator and I will have a fruitful discussion about having an alternate electrical contractor at disposal for the town.
So how much work right now, if looking at today forward, forget about the town electrician for a minute, but just looking at the work that BP does from today forward, in effect, if BP doesn't show up, how much work can be done without having any kind of electrical work being done there? How much of a workaround is there versus we need somebody in there?
I'm not sure I understand what you're saying. Work has not ceased on other trades, if that's what you're saying.
That's what I'm asking. Does not even having BP there, does that hold up anything?
No,
That's what
not
I'm
at
asking.
all. Not at all. There's other work that's going on Because it's an existing building where a lot of the work is fish work,
Mhm.
meaning it's within existing walls, nothing is impacted. The electrical work can be done after things are finished off.
You think it'd be helpful to speak to the Dayton's representative on the school committee, VP school committee, Ed Dutra, see what he can do? I mean, he's my neighbor. If it wasn't for the snow, I could talk to him over the fence, but I know that he's been active in this. I know that.
I think Ed would probably love the opportunity to try to intervene. Sure. So
Is that to our benefit or?
I think it would be, yeah.
Yes.
But I mean, we don't have any option right now,
Yes.
which,
So
I
you,
can't force them to come there.
No.
So
do you want to speak to him about that then? Ed
Do
Dutra,
you-
you want me, or you want me
I
to?
think you should,
Okay,
if that's
all right.
okay with you.
And when the snow melts.
Yeah, no, I'm taking my dog out at 5:30 in the morning. He's already up, so. Lights around the house and,
Go to have coffee.
yeah.
If you're willing to do that, then I think that would be
Yeah,
appropriate, yes.
okay, I'll speak to him about that. Anybody else have any questions?
Are we gonna go through painting or we're not? Is that,
That's an invoice if you want to, I mean, you can talk about it now if you wish. I know that regarding the painting, we had an email going back and forth about the ceiling possibly being
Yep,
painted,
yep.
and I asked for a quote on that. And I never got a quote on that,
Oh, that,
and I see that it's been painted.
that's right, yep.
Because I wanted to see what the quote was, because if it was too high, we should bring it back to the committee,
Okay,
obviously.
that was my mistake, yep.
And I'll take some responsibility for that too. The quote was $2,600,
Additional for the ceiling?
Yeah.
Wow,
which is, you think that's high?
I think that's high. I mean, I know the ceiling's high,
Really?
but, $2,600.
Well, it's
I think it's
done.
high.
It's done.
I know, but I asked the very reason why I asked
You
for
did, you are, yes, you are
a
correct. yes.
figure and then.
You are correct.
Well,
it's
I'll take
done.
responsibility for that. I have to tell you, it made all the difference in the world. The
It
ceiling looks amazing.
It does look great. I just think that
Yeah,
that kind of cost should come back to the committee,
okay.
because we didn't discuss the ceiling, we only talked about the paint. And in addition to that, there's more painting that needs to be done. There's at least 3 rooms that
Yeah, that's all being done by the
Sheetrock.
highway department.
they're gonna paint that?
Yes.
Great.
So there's no more.
So that
no more paint
invoice that we
costs.
have, that's it for the painting?
There's one more. There's one more that I haven't received yet.
That's gonna be roughly, for the painting, so.
Yep, for the painting. I think the painting in total, and don't quote me, is 11 or 12,000.
Because I thought we talked about 10,000 last.
Yeah,
does that include the ceiling? That's the.
yes.
Anybody else have any questions?
You're gonna be someone there tomorrow, let's stop by in the morning.
I can ask the plumber if he'll be there tomorrow and let you know.
Okay, yeah, just that's me.
Yeah, okay.
I'll be around in the afternoon. Okay.
Yeah, Mike's been there. I've gone there.
That's right, that's,
highway
yeah,
department.
yeah.
I can do it Monday too. You're around Monday.
Monday's a holiday.
Oh, that's right.
That's right, I will not be around.
So,
Not that I don't teach school anymore.
Yeah, that's how you, when you don't teach, it's like,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
so, I'm not negating your concern about the cost, but I was there when the painter was working on it. He caulked every one of the joints in the vaulted ceiling area in the main room. He used over 6 gallons of joint compound repairing cracks in the ceilings and in the upper portion of the walls. So I think he did a phenomenal job for the money he did. Of course, I'm not an expert in painting, but I
No,
think it was.
I'm not critical of the job. I honestly don't remember what it looked like prior to the painting.
Yeah.
You're talking about cracks and stuff. I don't
Yeah.
remember the cracks, but
Yeah. They were there. And I was amazed that when I went in and looked at the transition from where he was painting to what wasn't painted on the ceiling, it just looks absolutely phenomenal.
I just think we need to be concerned about the monies we're spending, because I am not going back before the town as for
I agree.
additional
agree.
money. And
I
if we have to go back for more money, it's gonna be us that are going before the town, not.
I don't know how my colleague here feels, but we've been watching the money pretty closely. I think we feel pretty comfortably that we're gonna get this
I feel-
project done.
I feel very
Yeah.
comfortable.
Yeah. So I don't think we'll have to ask for a penny more. So,
With the,
Yeah, because we're pulling on a bunch of different discretionary funds and we will make ends meet. I'm confident of that.
Anything else on the building infrastructure? People have any questions? You have anything else you need to add, Jim?
No, thank you.
Grants and fundraising.
We're gonna start spending down the remainder of these grants. Work on the HVAC will start soon, and we can spend that down. I've been communicating with Jonathan about spending down the rest of the ADA grant. So we got a good plan to spend the rest of these grants down, and I think we're gonna spend them down before the end of the fiscal year.
Anybody have any questions about that? It's regarding the fundraising, we were supposed to have a fundraising committee today at 4.
Right.
I believe this is.
There was a
Used,
schedule, a scheduling mix up with.
So we need to
with
schedule,
states.
we need to schedule.
And I have that on the agenda, yeah.
Community and updates and information. I know you posted recently, posted a picture of the kids' room.
Yes.
Yes, with the painting.
Yep, that's right.
One person was critical of the green. but
Well, you know,
other than
so I want to talk about that real quick. That's fine. The point I would make to that person, if I was talking to that person, I don't want to do it typing because you
Yes.
know how tone can go. That's weird. But basically, the carpet that's going to go in there is going to be either a blue or a green carpet. So that green was chosen because it would have matched with whatever blue or green was chosen.
Yeah.
So by seeing just that green, you're really seeing an incomplete version of that room. Maybe just, I would say, very nicely to that person, maybe hold off on judging the color until you see it, the room's completed, and then you're free to judge. That's all I would say about that. So by seeing that one color, just note that it's really within the context of the room.
We're talking about the frame of the window.
That's right,
Yes.
that's right,
And again, it's one person's opinion.
that's right. Yep.
Everybody else made good
Which
comments.
that person's entitled to, of course.
Yeah.
But, you know, I would urge people not, form your opinion when the room is complete. Yeah.
I thought it was good. And all the other comments were saying that the colors were good, it was bright. And all that
And
kind
one
of.
person liked the old color over the new.
Well, that's gonna
Yeah,
happen.
It's an
I mean,
opinion.
I did commit, somebody asked, when is it going to be ready? I did make a comment that, I did say hopefully in the fall,
Mhm.
and people were happy with that. But now it sounds like it may not be the fall.
No, it's gonna be the fall.
It's gonna be the fall,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. No, I'm hell bent on making it.
It's gonna be the fall.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Yep.
I see the two in the back there looking at each other when I said the fall. We're gonna be all set?
They're looking because they agree. Yes,
Good.
yes.
And everyone knows what opinions are like, right?
Exactly.
Yes. I'm optimistic. I mean,
Yeah.
we slowed up a little bit, with some,
Little, but yeah.
but I think we're catching up and
We're doing fine.
HVAC, I think we're gonna be on time with the HVAC, even though it would have been nice to have it done for the winter.
Right.
Looks like we'll have it done.
And that's a big deal because then we can really get in there and put
Right.
shelving up. And that just affects occupancy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is big.
And speaking of that, I do have one other thing to add for the updates information. I was in contact with the Cub Master for Boy Scouts Pack 45 for Dayton.
Yes.
And she said she's looking for volunteer opportunities for the Cub Scouts to do. And I said, okay, that's great. But then she made one comment that really got my ears piqued and said, well, when you get the kids, but you also get the parents. I was like, oh, okay. And so a project she thought would have been cool, would have been helping move in shelving from the unit into the building and then helping install it. Because again, that's not something I'd ask the kids to do. But when you get the parents too, you know, that opens a whole lot of other doors. So I think that's gonna be a real good possibility. Nice community effort of getting the shelving moved in. Because that's not gonna be a quick move because we gotta go sort of piece by piece. Helping them move it. I did want it too. It's not like glamorous work. Said, doesn't matter. I said, great. So I think we'll do that. And then I think we'll get the parents to help assemble it. So it'll be a nice community little,
Good photo opportunities.
yeah. So I think that's,
And that troop has done other things in the past. They've worked at the James Briggs Garden, and the parents do come
Yep.
and do most of the physical work. So
yeah.
it would be helpful if they can.
So I think that's gonna, I feel pretty good about that happening. So I was excited about that, excited enough to present it to the committee.
Okay, we'll move on to the
Oh, I
HVAC.
have something.
Yep.
So last time we talked about making packets for your speaker.
Yes, Reinstein.
Reinstein, yeah. So part of it, we talked about the history. So I put together a timeline of the history of the hall for when we had the open house. So I gave a copy to Mark.
Yes,
And I found enough copies at my house that everyone can have one that gives just a basic timeline of the house
Excellent.
of the hall.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And also come to the talk. The talk's gonna be really good too.
Is this something we should give to Ted when he speaks? In a couple of weeks?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I still have more.
Nice.
Very good. And we'll discuss the HVAC bid update and timeline. Who wants to speak on that?
You turn it over to Joe, Shane, join you. Sure. And Shayna. You want to sit at the table?
Jonathan, I can email that to you
Come on over
if you
here.
want.
If you could, though, I was like, I'll have to scan it, but I could, might scan the wrong side.
Okay, I'll email it to you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
So fresh.
Oh, I can
Jim, what is
actually-
your last name?
Joe, actually Joe
I'm sorry.
Shea, S-H-E-A.
Thank you.
And this is Shayna Callahan.
I got Shayna.
We are both engineers, and thank you for having us back.
Thank you.
We're with Granite City Partners. We've been the program manager, owner's project manager since the buildings, or prior to the building's acquisition. It's actually thrilling to be back before the committee. We have stepped back into a slightly different role to try to help move and accelerate some of the construction components. So although we do program management as engineers, we also have been helping with HVAC. Now moving more into some of the glass and glazing and the engineering around fixture selection. Today, we're going to talk to you about the HVAC package. A bid was put out. It was called a performance bid. Where working with the town, we specified how the system should work, let contractors bid the type, size, and layout of equipment that they feel would be most cost effective. I'm very happy to have received a bid from a known contractor called North Star Equipment out of Plymouth, a reputable contractor who has included a reputable equipment, LG. Some of you may have an LG refrigerator, or certainly is a product that is tried and true. And through that process, we were also able to validate some of the original budgetary estimates. We heard Mark's estimate before about the budget update. I can't believe it, but it was 2 years ago, it was January 19th, 2023, we went to the Community Preservation Act and introduced an application for $323,000. A vast majority of which was for HVAC. There was some plumbing money in there, but it was all HVAC related. Of that money, the 285 of that budget was directly HVAC related, either HVAC equipment, HVAC electrical, or carpentry. And I'm very happy to say that the HVAC bids came in, the lowest bid is 235. So for round numbers, we had carried 285. We're now holding 235. To make sure that I'm clear, that's not exactly apples to apples, because the bid we received from North Star didn't include the carpentry. 2 years ago, we thought that we would specify it that way. Through evolution, we didn't. The town has been doing the carpentry themselves and doing a fine job. But that detail aside, the important thing is we're within budget. We're within those line items as included with the CPC.
Which is rare considering 24 months has passed.
It is. It is. You also, it's for this committee's decision-making. At the time, we didn't have a $20,000 little grant
Yep.
either.
It's not a little grant, that's.
Well, big grant, I'm sorry, yes, compared to two,
Yep, yep.
yes, you're right. So we're quite happy about that. So we have prepared a memo to recommend award to North Star Construction. One nuance here of the way we bid this. When we bid public projects, we have two avenues. One is a very high degree of precision plans and specifications, big thick books, where every detail is established. Takes a long time and you spend a lot of money on designers. We went an alternate route where you bid performance standards, you receive a quote, but some of those details get refined during construction. So when we recommend award to the price as proposed, but also know you will have a few change orders. There will be some design decisions that evolve over the next month where we may save a little money, we may spend a little money. We want to just be clear that this avenue normally requires some price adjustments at the end of the day. So as we're here today, we want to present the memo about an award to North Star for $235,000 as their bid, with a comment that we would recommend you also include a 15% contingency in the award, which would bring you to $270,000. Still below the CPC line item, which is great. But, and you will still have control that every step of the way you'll be hearing about financial updates. But it acknowledges the procurement avenue that was chosen. It doesn't lock you into having to meet and do individual change order paperwork along the way. You'll still meet and discuss your budget along the way. A couple other details that we want to go through, and I'll let Shayna speak to these details about North Star's proposal, is certainly time. We know time is of the essence. We also feel they were conservative in some locations in their proposal. Review some of the details.
Yep, so just since we were already talking about timeline, they have agreed to a substantial completion date of May 1st and a final completion date of June 1st. So that should put everybody in good shape as far as moving and stuff afterwards. And then when Joe talked about, there's a few opportunities to potentially scale back. So they were very conservative on sizing some of their units. So that's an opportunity to scale back on things. However, we do know that as ducts start to go in, some additional things might need to go in as well, since not everything is set in stone as far as place goes.
So for example, why don't you share, we feel there with the basement.
Yes, yeah. So the basement is a large space, obviously, and that's a unit in particular that they feel were oversized.
They're overheating and overcooling the basement, in our opinion, before anything goes final. We feel there's money to save there. That's by way of what we mean. We have pluses and minuses that we'll navigate with Jim and Mark as your advisors to get to the right product.
And my guess with that is North Star probably calculated based on a space that was habitable, whereas the basement is not going to be utilized currently. I just, if I may, before we further discussion, I just want to bring the committee up to a certain level of clarity about what type of systems we are proposing here. The there are 5 zones. The building has been broken up into 5 different areas with 4 zones on the main level and the 5th zone in the lower level, basement. Of those zones, 1 through 4, which is in the main area, with the exception of, I think, the rear program room, was all going to be ducted systems, meaning you will see no wall hangers like this. There'll be no wall mounted units. The only exception is in the program room. They might put a ceiling cassette unit in there, which looks no different than a ceiling tile. But every other room should have all ducted grills, albeit in the floor or the walls. So there'll be no taking away from the current historic nature of the building.
Including the exterior,
Meaning
we have the system in my house, we have things going on the outside of the house.
everything's in the rear. Everything is
Everything's in the
slated to be in the rear.
But it will be on the outside, some of it.
No, 0. It's all going to enter. There'll be nothing on the outside. I know what you're saying. Those are very unsightly. Yeah.
I have a historic house and I have.
Yeah,
that, so.
yeah. No, the working with the design professionals, we decided that there's going to be one area of equipment in the rear. So if you know the building and you're on the rear of the building, the access to the lower level through that doghouse bulkhead area, the equipment will be to the water side of that. And there'll be a big equipment pad there with some attempt to try to divert the noise from the neighbors. So that said, everything will enter the building below the eye level. So nothing will be above 5 feet or so. The lower level basement area, which is going to remain unfinished, will be wall hanging units like you see here. And basically, the idea was just dehumidification in the basement. It really wasn't it was to temper it. It wasn't to heat it to 70 degrees or, or cool it to 70 in the summertime. It was to just keep it tempered so that the humidity stayed out.
On that, will it be capable of heating it though, if we wanted to, and cooling?
It will.
Of the purpose right now anyways, you may.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But what Joe and Shana were alluding to is that North Star sized the equipment for a space that had occupants. And we know occupants create heat, so some more than others. That we don't know if we need that equipment to be sized that way because there's no plan in the foreseeable future to use that. So do
Would
we have?
that allow for future, in the future, if we decide to use that lower level?
I think, in my professional opinion, if you were going to use the lower level, you would do a ducted system just the same as upstairs. Because the space is so vast, you'd end up with wall hangers and, all over the place. So the system would probably, for the lower level, zone 5, if we decided to use it, would probably be replaced.
Okay.
So to Joe and Shana's point, getting just the system we need to keep that space tempered and heated really is all we need right now.
Because who really knows with the future, how long that's.
But
gonna be.
I would still want to know potentially, I have several questions, but sticking with the basement for a minute. If it were to be sized so that down the road, the basement can be reconfigured for rooms, what would the difference in cost be to do it now potentially versus having to come back in 3 to 5 years and do it then, if it's not sized now? And if it's not ducted, so forth.
If we did a ducted system in the basement, not knowing where rooms would be, it's a shot in the dark. You really don't know. So I think it would be money wasted. If you want to put a number on it, I'd have to guess $35,000 or $40,000 more.
Now,
Yes.
and if we don't do it now, and then in 5 years, we decide to use the basement and utilize the rooms there and make it accessible, obviously, that's a whole nother,
Yeah, could be
whole
10,
nother thing.
could be 10 or
But
15
could we
years
be
from now.
talking another $100,000
No.
at that point?
No, it's just a single zone system. So you'd be talking about probably a similar amount, maybe 10 or 20% more, depending on how inflation runs over the next 10 years.
Were there other bids that came in?
There were not.
It was not. We had
We
one
had-
other bidder at the pre-bid walkthrough, non-mandatory, but they did not submit a proposal.
And did they do a walkthrough? Did they come down and do a physical walkthrough or just,
Yes,
Yes.
we had multiple bidders at the walkthrough.
is there any thought of condition if, and I'm also thinking of product coming in, ordering, overlap, waiting, depending upon where things are coming from and so forth. Is there anything built in for any type of contingency or penalty if it's not completed by June 1st?
The town
bid?
and I'll check this, I believe it will be I know it will be the town's long form construction contract. That normally includes what's called liquidated damages,
Mhm.
which is effectively a penalty provision if a schedule isn't held. Because the town is then damaged by other things not happening, additional rental costs for the existing library. We can confirm with town hall that those provisions are in.
I'm certain they're in that long form.
I think I would just like to know what it is. Is it a percentage? Is it a specific dollar figure?
There, in my experience, it's always been a specific dollar figure in the magnitude between $500 and $2,000 a day, depending upon what the actual damages are.
Mhm.
Legally, it cannot be a penalty. It cannot be just a hammer to scare you into making your schedule. It has to actually be true damages that the town would incur. So we normally will devise a memo that justifies true damages of additional rental costs.
Mhm.
Not being in on time, what does that mean with respect to other locations in town? Extended oversight, extended costs of heating and cooling a vacant building. Normally, again, the magnitude we see is 500 to 2,000, depending upon where that, per day, depending upon where that justification truly lands of actual damages.
Do we have to go, when we would go from heating to cooling? Do we have to have anybody come out and do anything, or is it basically flipping the switch?
No, it's all thermostatically controlled.
Similar to like what
Yes,
we have here.
yes.
Okay. And what about for annual maintenance of the ducts and so forth? Is that
Well-
a separate contract or?
Ironically, this company is who has our current contract for annual maintenance. That's our relation with this company. We've been with them for 3 years now. So they've been servicing our equipment for the last 3 years. Outside of filters, we keep filters in-house and we do those through the highway department, which are more routine. Those are typically on a monthly or every other month basis, but troubleshooting, repairing, we had a unit get hit by lightning next door. They repaired that. And duct cleaning would all be through North Star.
Is there
Do we
any,
have, do we have the specs anywhere on the specific equipment they want to use?
They just provided that. Yes,
who's going to review that?
we both are.
Yeah.
Yeah, we both are.
Is that available to us as well?
Sure, it can
So
be.
that we can-
Yeah,
Can we send that over to us, somebody? So that we can have
Sure.
Yeah,
a record of the
absolutely.
equipment?
Send it to the members of the
Sure.
building committee. Is there any plumbing or piping down in the basement that we have to worry about freezing in the winter if we're not heating it?
yes,
So
yes.
we
It-
will
it
have
wa-
to have,
The word I used tempered was that basically means keep it above freezing or, a temperature that would not interfere with the building and the operation of the library upstairs. So it would be heated to maybe 55 degrees.
Which then the question I would ask the two, and I don't know if this goes along with any of this now, but the lower level is not insulated, am I right or wrong?
The walls are not insulated, correct?
How much, I get, the question I'm going to ask then is it worth insulating the walls of the lower level? And if we don't or do, how much of a cost savings is that on an annual basis? Because it seems to me we could be losing a lot of heat.
yeah, I'm not sure that's part of our purview though, because we're just talking about the building upstairs, the library itself,
Right.
and we don't know what the future is for the basement.
No, I understand that, but I'm also thinking with this system, in terms of that fifth thermostat, if you will, how much heat we're going to have to absorb or how much the cost will be if we don't.
Well, I can tell you right now, the basement is not heated because the system that is there only heats the upstairs. And it has been a balmy 50 degrees in that basement the entire winter. So now, granted, there's an oil-fired furnace down there, which does generate some heat.
Some, not much.
So, but our predecessors were very smart, in some ways smarter than we were. Those walls are almost 2.5 feet thick, most of it's subterranean. So,
Much better.
Mother Earth is 55 degrees constant, pretty much anywhere you go, when you go below grade. So it stays pretty tempered on its own.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm more concerned about humidity, to be frank. I want to make sure that we keep the humidity out of the building. So these particular units have the ability to dehumidify, which if any of you have had the fortunate circumstance to be in a room that has these, in most cases, in the summertime, if you run the dehumidifier, that's all you need.
That's what we do.
Yeah. You never need to put the AC on.
Now, is this going to be heat pumps? That's the latest thing, or is it going to be the oldest? It's going to be heat pumps.
All heat pumps.
Good, good.
Yes. All 5 units.
Anybody else have any questions on HVAC?
I have a couple. I know you mentioned May 1st with a final deadline of June 1st. Is that, how confident we feel about that? Like, that's really, really, okay, good, good.
Yes, one key coordination item along there is with a performance spec, we have to work with you to make sure that we'll call it the inlets and outlets of the HVA system align with your
That was
furniture
my
location,
next question is.
which is something that wasn't
Right.
totally tied down,
Yep.
which is why the performance approach worked well,
Yep.
and why there might be a $1,100 change order to move something here or there.
Yep, that was my next question. So ideally, when would shelving installation go before the ducts go in, or would shelving installation go in after? And that's just a communication thing, or I guess maybe how would that,
So.
I'm not gonna put books until I get occupancy. I'm just thinking in terms of the shelving units and stuff.
Shelving in parallel with the duct final work, they will put in the trunk lines in the mains.
Okay,
but then where we'll call it the fingers, where we
Yep.
want the fingers to come on and
Okay.
off, we want to make sure it is in alignment with your ductwork, with your
Yep.
casework. your
Okay,
bookshelf.
yep.
Also, if there's a situation, for example, where we wish to come up through the bottom end of a bookshelf
Mhm.
and come out the side of a bookshelf as opposed to out the floor,
Mhm.
where somebody might step on it and dirt gets into it.
Mhm.
We have that opportunity with this procurement structure to use the town's carpenters and our HVAC contractor to blend those two together.
Okay, all right, so, because I have all the shoveling components basically ready to go, so I guess now, my next question is when would you see shelving actually going up within this timeline of the HVAC? Assuming that we're on track, we stay on track. for
HVAC
the-
drove
yeah.
the timeline.
Right, correct.
Be in May.
May, okay, excellent, okay, I will be in communication
Perfect.
about where the shelving goes before that, correct?
So
Yes.
Okay, I'm clear.
We have working drawings.
I can bring a little clarity to this.
Okay,
You have a great handle on what you purchased for furniture.
Yes.
I know you have sizes,
Yes.
et cetera, et cetera. You and I are gonna have to spend an afternoon or several afternoons over there laying out your
Mhm.
library
Mhm.
in such a way that we have an idea where all this stuff is going.
Okay.
And that's fairly quickly, actually.
sure,
So, because when they come in there, they need to know where things are gonna be, so they can size ductwork accordingly, et cetera, et cetera. So you're gonna kind of have your layout of your library on the floor in chalk line or some other means, soapstone, probably within the next 45 days.
we could do that tomorrow.
So, I just need the day to get there.
Okay.
And Friday's not the day. But yeah, I knew that would be your answer.
Yeah,
So
okay,
we're gonna do that.
okay,
And when North Star comes in, they're gonna see visually
Mhm.
where everything is gonna go.
okay,
We will field verify that at some point
Yep.
before we cut a hole in the floor. But in the very short term, we're gonna have to lay out the library.
sure, okay.
Are they gonna be able to use, there are already grates there?
Yes, we did. GCP made sure that
Okay.
the grates were captured and everyone knew they were gonna try to use whatever they could.
So when you put the fixtures, the covering on this ductwork, you have something that looks historical, that matches what's there?
We haven't gotten to that point. To my knowledge, grills were not included in the bid, or if they were, it was just this off-the-shelf type grill.
That's an example of the performance.
So we would probably ask for a credit from the off-the-shelf grill, and then we would work together to try to come up with something that works. I actually have a company that is in Massachusetts that manufactures them. I'm not sure if you're aware of them. They're called Reggio. And they are the company that I use to buy the grills for my home in Little Compton, and they're a little pricey.
REGGIO?
Yeah, they're a little pricey, but they're
Accurate,
exactly what you want.
okay. Thank you.
Will we need, in order for them to come in and start working, circling back to what I was asking, and we were talking about for electrical, will there be any pre-electrical work that we need to have done before they come in? And I'm asking that obviously because we don't know what situation is with BP and the town electrician.
No, we do, actually. We have a commitment from the town electrician that he will supply all of the infrastructure needed for this HVAC project. We just need to stick to our timelines and have our final hit the thermostat date of June 1st, which coincides with his time to leave. So I'm confident that that will get done
Okay.
through our in-house electrician.
Thank you.
Any other questions for HVAC? While we do have you here, though, if you could explain to the committee what we're doing with the doors, the two front doors, two sets of front doors, I should say.
Yes, happily. There's three more items that we're working on. One is the front doors. We for quite a while have been trying to find a way to preserve those beautiful historic tall front doors that from a historic standpoint, they're fabulous. From a modern operational standpoint, are a bit of an albatross and a challenge. We've been unable to find a way to preserve the doors as active doors in the front. So we put together a recommendation to take off those doors and repurpose them elsewhere within the building in some manner. But change the two front doors on either side of the oblong room the foyer room to 36-inch modern doors with appropriate hardware and a transom above, and then trim them out both on the inside and the outside in a way that maintains the historic character of the outside. This does a number of things. It makes the ADA accessibility and compliance of the doors proper and in alignment. It makes the emergency egress of the doors proper and in alignment. And it also makes the doors function more smoothly with the platforms outside and the space inside.
There's one more component. The doors that are there now are solid, which gives you no visual sightline, which to me was a concern, having people coming and going at the same time. So by doing the type of door that we're recommending, you eliminate that. Now everybody can see who's coming and going through the glazing.
Jim had called and, we did talk about it, so given as much as I'd like the doors to be there, it's just safety is first, and ADA compliance, so if it can't be, it can't be, I can just see me walking into the door and someone opening it and get knocked out.
Yeah.
Those are heavy doors.
And say,
They are.
here's your door, Pat, you wanted them.
So for ADA
Down the
compliant
road.
doors,
Yeah.
for the ADA compliance, I'm assuming you're not just talking the door, but you're talking the handles, and would they be electrified?
I believe, don't we have grant money still available for
Yeah.
accessibility?
Yeah.
Yes, we do,
Yeah,
and that's
so-
why I want to make sure
Yeah,
that
so
the
the answer
doors,
would be yes.
so the doors, no matter what the doors that you're choosing to
Right.
use, they would be capable of being
Yes.
electrified on both doors, both sets.
Yes.
That is correct. Yeah, so Jonathan just caught us. We were just there with a door and window person talking about plunger location and other matters so that we can finalize a drawing and get price quotes in. That will be included in the price quote.
So is there an exterior and then an interior door also?
No.
Like, no, just exterior only?
Right.
Correct.
There's no foyer,
The foyer is
It's-
there. The foyer doors are not
are not going to be
operational.
there.
No, they're going to be there.
Right.
They're going to be permanently affixed open,
Right.
Okay,
so they're
That's-
not operable.
all right, that's what okay. So the assumption is that both sets of doors on both the ramp and the stair area, or two ramps, however you want to refer to it, will be electrified.
Yes,
Okay,
they'll both be identical, just opposite swings because
Okay,
they're on
yep.
opposite sides of the building.
okay.
And the other ramp will be, that door will be electrified too, with the employees.
It can be if you like.
I think they both should be.
That would be
Like
3
that.
doors electrified. Do we have enough funding in the ADA
It would
grants?
depend on the total cost, but
We have almost 11,000.
Almost 11,000.
Yeah, left.
Aren't those 4,000 or 5,000 each?
I think last I knew they were around 2,700 to 3,000, may have gone up a little
Okay.
bit. We have to check. But I know, as Mark has alluded to, we may have other funds from other parts of the project that we can, if we need to.
My question is on the two front doors, the one that has the stairs and not the ramp, that has to be electrified too?
Yes,
They both have stairs.
Yes,
the answer is yes, they both have to be electrified.
they both have to be.
Yeah.
Well, there's
Oh,
one
you
that-
mean
the
the
ramp.
one that doesn't have a ramp? Yes,
Yeah.
okay, just has stairs.
That has to be electrified.
It doesn't have to be,
No, I'm
no.
gonna,
If the ramp leads up to it from a different direction, yes, otherwise, no.
It
it
does
doesn't
not,
though, it doesn't though.
it does not.
No.
There's two sets of doors, one has a set of stairs, and one has the ramp. And my question was.
Yeah, so,
does that-
so it's a great point. Now we're back down to 2 doors which are required to be electrified, which
Yeah.
the 2 doors are serviced by ramps, accessible ramps.
Yes,
There's 1 door that's serviced just by a stair, so that does not need to be electrified.
yeah, I don't see a need for it. I mean,
No.
if you're able to walk up the stairs, you should be able to.
No, then that's, yep.
Yeah,
Right.
so be two electrified doors.
Okay,
Cost will be a little cheaper.
That's what we will show in the price
Right.
quote package to go.
And then electrification would be from the interior and the exterior. Is that right?
right, correct.
Yes, that's standard, I think, right?
It's supposed to be.
And then on doors, there's also the side door, the side entrance door. That's also going to be slated to be replaced with a new door, a new insulated glass storefront style door.
Yeah, that door is probably not original. I would.
No, and it's actually falling apart and it's a mess.
So then it begs the question separately, though, is the doors that are being removed to be repurposed somewhere else. Where's the somewhere else?
That's to be determined. We're talking about maybe using the wood to build bookcases or maybe just a wall ornament or it's not part of what's needed to get the library open. We're just saying that we don't want to discard the doors. They'll be saved and they'll be used somewhere.
Yeah,
in
and
the
it probably
building.
won't be used as doors,
No,
so.
no, they may not be used as
I mean,
doors.
the woodwork is great, but.
Right. Right. Those doors too, which I talked to Pat about, I didn't realize the raised panels are mostly checked. There's cracks in them, so they would need a lot of work anyway. So we just may dissect them and,
They're probably showing their age, just like,
Yeah.
out on the porch, all the wood
column,
there.
yeah, right. Yeah, so for right now, there is no end use for them, but we do want to make sure that that they'll be salvaged.
And we know that we have people that are very creative with our
Yes,
historic wood.
yes, we do.
We do.
Mhm.
Just for clarification, do we have to be out of here by 3, Mark?
I like to do
We do.
the stuff to 3, yeah.
We do.
Okay. Okay.
Have another meeting at 3, yes.
All right, very quickly, we're also getting pricing for the teen room, we call it the storefront, but the glass glazing for the teen room and the glass between the children's room and the main library. If you meet monthly, it's our plan to have those in hand for your next meeting.
Okay, good. Any other questions for anybody?
And you're also working on lighting too, correct?
And we are working on fixtures that are coming in with a lighting consultant.
We owe you one more fixture.
To
For
make
one
sure
more.
that the, call it foot candles or lumens, but the spacing works appropriately for a library. So there's a little model that we can do to make sure that the library is properly illuminated and that you have some control and that the children's room is whimsical.
Mhm. Yeah, those cloud lights are gonna work because we have cloud shaped tables.
Mhm.
It's gonna be, yeah.
And Pat, you've been involved in this, the like,
Yeah, perfect. Yep, that's,
These are just the
Children's
greatest
section.
lights.
Oh, that's so cute.
yeah.
They're really,
Don't you wish you could have had that when you were teaching?
I showed it to my wife and that's exactly what she said.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah,
Fabulous.
right. I want to commend everyone, but Mark, you really pulled it out when I sent the email out and you fired back with some ideas. And that was exactly what we needed. So thank you.
I couldn't think of any other cert, because you'd be surprised how much you get with library hanging ceiling lights. You get a lot of,
Yeah.
a lot. But I kind of knew what I'd had. I knew what I had in mind.
And then you have Laurie aiding you.
Yes, yes.
That's right.
She helped me narrow it down for the children's section. Can I ask one question about the storefronts?
Yes.
I know you're getting the price on, but do you have an estimate of, I mean, what do you think they might, like a range wise estimate wise?
The storefronts, we expect to be a little under $30,000. If we're
Okay.
adding in the doors
Okay.
into the same procurement, probably in the 45, we'll be below the $50,000
Okay,
public bid threshold, get 3 quotes
okay,
for those combined.
okay, all right, thank you.
why don't we move right along? We have a lot of invoices that we have to deal with.
All right, thank
Yeah,
you very
thank you.
much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Well, you can stay if you want.
Nice to see you.
Sick trip back.
Well, you're gonna review our invoice. We won't leer at you while you look at it.
Don't forget the golf tournament. Do you play golf?
I was at this past
was
year's
at this
golf
one,
tournament,
right.
yes.
But did you play?
I
Oh,
did,
you
yes, I
Okay.
did.
All right.
Second on women's longest drive.
I don't know if anybody noticed, but that was my name Joe was wearing on his vest.
Oh, you remembered it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's go through all the invoices. Is it? Gonna be you, Mark?
Yep, sure. 5 invoices from Mid-City Steel totaling $3,212.15. Those are for the railings. 1 invoice from Summit Metal Product totaling $1,246.11. That's also for the railings. 3 invoices from Granite City Electric totaling, I had to type invoices twice. Oh, whatever. Totaling $1,130.77. Those are for BP Electric Supply, electric equipment. 2 invoices from Advantage Painting totaling $8,661. That's painting. 2 invoices from Eagle Leasing Company totaling $373. That's those are the storage containers. 1 invoice from Granite City Partners totaling $5,307.50. Granite City Partners. And 1 invoice from Aquaneck Fasteners totaling $23.32. Those are also for the railings.
Anybody have any questions about those
This is
invoices?
a total that comes to $19,953.85.
Any questions regarding those invoices?
Is
Nothing
that all the
about,
stuff we need on the railings?
I don't know, are there more invoices?
No, there'll be more invoices.
These are that we received to date
Okay.
since last week.
Nobody's gonna question the $23.32 for the fasteners? Can we ask for just one? Can it be one? Mr. Adams,
Just so everyone's aware, I question every invoice and I go
Yeah.
through every one of them line by line. So
And we did that and we caught a few duplicates.
We did.
that We were,
oh, good,
did not put on here that
Right.
had already been paid. So,
Right.
yeah.
good,
Yeah.
good, good.
And this will come from the special article.
So can we take one vote on all the invoices? And is it, both committees have to vote on this, or is it?
I would
just-
think just the building committee because it's coming from the special article.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I will entertain a motion then. Can you give us a total figure again, so we have?
$19,953.85.
I will make a motion that we approve $19,953.85 for all of the
Invoices.
invoices, thank you, that Mark just referenced.
Second.
Is there a second? Any questions? All for a roll, call, starting with Jonathan?
Aye.
Aye.
Mark Rocknick, aye.
Campuchico, aye.
Mark Savara, aye.
Mark side passes unanimously.
James Aguirre, aye.
On
I
that,
went this way and
that iPhone.
again, it's unanimous again.
Double.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's-
And they don't have to vote on that. It's just-
No, this came from special article.
A fundraising committee, why don't we'll talk to Ron,
Okay,
and then we'll talk to Mark and you, and we'll
Yep,
we'll
yep.
pick a date rather than taking our time here.
sure.
Has everybody had an opportunity to look at the minutes from our last meeting, January 9th?
Yes.
And if so, Dave's here too, huh?
Oh, yeah, we pull out all the
Oh,
brass.
geez, all the old timers. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes for January 9th.
So moved.
Seconded.
Any questions, any concerns? If not, I'll call for a roll call vote, starting with Jonathan.
Aye.
Pat Gales, aye.
Mark Rocknick, aye.
Campuchico, aye.
Mark Savara, aye.
James Aguirre, aye.
It passes unanimously.
Do we have to accept that too?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like a motion to accept the meeting of the January 9th, 2025 Building Committee.
So moved.
I'll step down in second.
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous.
Next meeting, we have I think we still stay at a monthly meetings versus every couple of weeks or every week. We have a date for that.
It'd be March 13th because unless you want to go a week earlier.
That's fine.
Doesn't matter, yeah.
March 13th is fine.
What time?
When you can get the room.
Can we get 3 o'clock?
3 o'clock?
Try for 3 o'clock.
I apologize. I don't think we got the time for our next trustee meeting.
No, Ron didn't, Ronnie left.
That's right.
No, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Okay. So you want to have the trustee meeting before that?
It'd be nice to have it before.
Before. Thank you. Okay, thank you. March 13th, 3
I wanna go
o'clock.
home.
Anything else that should be brought up before we adjourn?
Can I just ask a very quick question? I know it didn't come up today, and Jim, you probably know the answer to this more than anybody. And we talked about this once before, but the flooring. When will we eventually be able to start redoing the flooring? And will that be done by the town, or are we going to contract it for all of the sanding and revarnishing and everything?
No, it's going to be contracted out and it will probably be a discussion at our next meeting. It won't be done, but we're going to start to discuss it. And that's probably something that's going to happen right between the May and June deadlines for the HVAC. It'll be right in between there.
So would that something you're thinking to be done while everything's being moved in, or once it's, at least the shelving, not the
The
tables? maybe?
flooring needs to be done before.
Right. I would think
Other
so.
shelves.
So,
Really?
yes, absolutely. Yes.
You could scratch the floor, yes.
Yeah, you,
I would have thought after.
no. They won't be able to sand and finish the floors with all of the obstacles in the way. So what happens is you do the floors, put moving blankets down, and then you bring everything in. So that's how it works.
Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Jonathan, roll call vote.
Yes.
Pat Gales, aye.
Mark Rocknick, aye.
Campuchico, aye.
Dr. Morris, aye.
James Aguirre, aye.
The meeting is adjourned.
I'd like a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved. Draft. Yeah, I'll fix it.
Step down second.
And you'll let me know when I.
Aye. And then.
Yes.
Pat, thank you for sending this to me.